You're finally thinking of taking that first step to build your dream business or work on that dream goal, but you think you don't have time because you have a 9 to 5 job. Well, my friend, I'm here to tell you you're doing it wrong. You're wrong because it is achievable. Achievable. Hi, I'm Tina Marie, and in 2022, I launched my Hammer and Spoons website, my blog. By August of that same year, 2022, my blog was monetized. I did this while balancing a 9 to 5 job. In that year, I managed to not only succeed in fulfilling and accomplishing the goals that I set out to build my business, but I exceeded in my professional growth and professional goals in my corporate job. It is doable if you have some systems in place, and I'll tell you about that in this video. So join me here. Let's talk about it. So putting systems in place, what I did is I had two systems. I had time management and I had goal planning. Or let's reverse that. Goal planning and time management. So let's talk about goal planning. When I decided to start blogging, I reached out or I researched some tools, some references, some training. I found everything I could online, free information on YouTube. You can find anything here on YouTube. But one of the things that I learned, one of the things that I saw circling around social media was this book, The 12-Week Year, The 12-Week Year by Morin and Lennington. I'll put a link to this below in the description. Um, while we're on this note, how many of you take covers off your book? I take covers off my book. I'm sorry. Raise your hand and comment below if you do the same thing. If I find the cover, I'll put it on the screen and you can see what it looks like. But you'll also find a description, or I'm sorry, a link in the description below. But I picked up this book, The 12-Week Year. Basically, what it does is it helps you build out a year in 12 weeks, in 12-week increments. The rule of thumb is you don't want to find yourself in October scrambling to get all your goals done by the end of the year. Instead, you're working toward a 12-week deliverable as if your year is going to end in 12 weeks. That's pretty much what it is. So the basis of the 12-week year there are a couple of components. It's a weekly accountability. Basically, you have your weekly tasks, I should say, because they're not weak. They're not weak. Your weekly tasks. And you'll hold yourself accountable for those weekly tasks because each task is related to driving toward accomplishing the end goal. The other thing you want to think about is consider this sort of like a living document because in that 12 weeks, if in your assessments and in your accountability sessions, either with a team or with a person that you ask to hold you accountable or with yourself, you want to identify anything that you're working on that's either a waste of your time or something that got missed, something that needs to get done, it needs to get worked into your plan. So consider it a living document. That's what I'm terming it as, but those are the two things I would say are really key to a 12-week plan. If I were to summarize the book, The 12-Week Year, I would tell you there are 5 key points that this book is going to teach you and walk you through. But let me tell you what those 5 key points are. You can get that here from me. Um, the first one is your goal should be specific and measurable. So, what that means is, let's say, for example, one of your goals is, I want to get more fit this year. I want to work out more. But what does that look like really? So, your week will say something like, I will run 1 mile a week. I will walk 2 miles a week. Whatever it is that you are your goal is to get to the end goal, you want to be specific, something that has a unit you can measure. So at the end of the week, you can say, I didn't reach 1 mile or I didn't reach 2 miles. I got this far. It gives you your accountability, it gives you your success rate so that you can actually rate yourself on how your week went and how probable is it to meeting your end goal. Now, that's as simple as just running, but it could mean lots of other things. Like if I have calls to make, and it is key that those calls are made to reach my end goal, and I say I'm going to make 3 calls and I only made 2, it gives me accountability and and it helps me identify the probability of making my goal. The second key point is you want to state them positively. So what that means is, let's say you're building a program and you know there will be an error report. There are going to be some errors to that. Instead of focusing on I will not make more than 5 errors that week. Focus on the positive target of 95% target, or 95 success rate will be my target that week. Um, all of your goals should be mentioned in a positive tone. You know, you don't want to focus on the negative, focus on maybe that end goal. What, in my point of view, what I would word it as is, what am I working toward? What's the end goal? Number 3, realistic stretching, or a realistic stretch. This is not a workout. Realistic stretch meaning, if I look at my week and I see that some of the tasks took very little or no time at all, they were very easy. Some were impossible and unreachable. You could not complete it. So you need to identify those, because one, if it's that easy, is it even needed? Right? And two, if it's difficult to master or difficult to meet that goal, maybe you might want to ask yourself, is that unachievable goal something that you can break up into pieces? And maybe in the first 12 weeks, you can tackle X and Y, but maybe hold Z for the next 12-week gap or whatever, or period of time that you're working toward. So that's what you want to do. Is it a realistic stretch? Is it something that is even needed because you're not spending a lot of time on it at all? Or is it something that needs to be broken out and pulled back a little bit in order to achieve? Number 4, you want to assign accountability. So for me, I have my weekly reset. Every Friday, I'm going to look at my week and I'm going to figure out, how did this week work out? What worked? What didn't? What needs my attention? What needs to be tweaked? That comes into that topic, or that term I use, living document. If each week happens where I'm finding the same thing is happening with the same tasks, that's something I want to look at and maybe modify. Because the worst thing you want to do is continue working towards something that's just not working out, or not doable, or not necessary. And then you start pulling back. You start thinking it's not even worth it. You don't want that to happen. So assess your week and hold yourself accountable for the tasks that you set out to do and to commit to. The other thing that accountability holds you to is that you know that you're working toward that end goal. So for me, I met some fellow content creators and we would have weekly or bi-weekly calls. And it made me feel awesome to know that when I had a call with them, I could say that I completed XYZ. And I knew if I had a call with them and I hadn't done anything, I was going to hear about it. So have someone in your circle, someone who's either working on the same journey with you, or someone who's your best cheerleader, someone who's just a third person, a neutral party who can just kind of help you assess your week, or ask you those questions like, did you do that? Did you get it done? So hold yourself accountable. That's number 4. And lastly, number 5, be time bound. So you want to put a date and a time to your goals. You can do that by putting it to your task that week it will be completed, or by each week completing, because at the end of 12 weeks it will be completed there. Whatever that date or time is, be time bound. So for me, an example I can use is, we want to redo our living room. And I can either state, well, I want it done by August. So there is a due date right there. August is my deliverable, August 1. So I want to work my way backwards to make sure that I start on time and that each task I complete will be completed by reaching that August 1st date. Now, if the end date isn't important to me and I just want to get it done this year, then I might just establish, when do I need to start? If I line up all of the tasks that need to be done and I know how long each one will take, I know when I need to start. And I know when what tasks need to be completed within each 12-week period of my year. So be time bound and give yourself a due date and a time of what it's going to look like and when will it get done. So you hold yourself accountable for that time. Speaking of time, now let's talk about time management. This is something that is very near and dear to me. I've been doing this for a long time. I don't know what it is about me, but I think there's a whole personality assigned to it, like a personality letter. I think it's like B or C. I don't know. I think I'm an A, B, and C. I don't know. But anyway, I have to have my time managed. I have to have things scheduled and planned out. Every minute of my day has to be accounted to something. And at first I thought, this is crazy. What am I doing? Like, am I really that eh, like, I don't want to use the term because it's, not proper for me to say the word, but why am I like that? I heard an interview a couple years ago where someone was explaining they were a previous employee, or they worked with the former and the late President Jimmy Carter. And they described President Jimmy Carter as someone who accounted for every minute of his day. Everything had assigned time to it. Like, everything was planned out. And when they asked him about this, he said, because I know time is precious and I want to be intentional with how I spend each moment of my day. And I was just thrilled when I heard that. It finally validated that I was okay. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with following in line with something that a former president of our United States used to do. So I'm really happy about that. Okay, so in my time management, what I do is I do a time blocking method. I will block time for intentional tasks, and it could be blocked for meetings, it could be blocked for focus time, it could be blocked for working on a task. Whatever it is, I identify what time of day that needs to happen and I block the time. Now, there will be issues or instances where something happens and it doesn't all fall in place exactly as you planned it. That's where the 85-15 rule comes in. The 85-15 rule is something that I learned a while back, where, and this can be interpreted in different ways in the business world, but my way, 85-15, is basically stating that 85% of my day or 85% of my week is going to be locked in for time for work, for meetings, for things that have to be done. And then 15% of the time is not locked into anything. It is my open space to maneuver and move things around and pivot when needed. So the way that would look is, let's say, for example, I have 85% of my day planned out, which relatively relates to about, excuse me, there must be dust in the air. It relatively relates to about a little bit over 6 hours, almost 7 hours of your day, and then a little bit over an hour of your day that would be open. Now, there may be days where you have no open space and your day is completely jam packed. But if you know you can have that little bit over an hour in another day, so let's say, for example, out of your whole week, you have a full day, but then during the rest of the week, you have some open bandwidth, that's okay. That's what you want to have in your weekly schedule. You want to have that bandwidth, that open space, because most of the time, you're as well as you plan it out and as well as you schedule it out, and you're so good at blocking your time, things will happen. Critical items will come up. Now, rather than taking on that critical item and completely ignoring your work or moving your work around and bouncing it through the days, instead, what you can do is you can either pivot and use that free space of time that you've already found in your day or week, or you can swap the responsibilities and maybe say, okay, I'm going to take a little bit of this time, move it to my free time later so that I could pay attention to this critical item. So I'm still doing my work. I may have to roll over some of that work into my next day, but I don't want to do it in a way where I'm now going over my intentional time blocks the next day. I want to use that free space for those pivots. It also gives you a really good tool to have discussions with your manager about your work, what's on your plate, your workload. Sometimes your manager may ask you, how much time are you putting to a certain task? And you can have that conversation with clear indications in your week where your time went. You don't have to play the guessing game. You don't have to figure it out by adding things up. You can clearly see in your week where your time is going, and it helps you have that conversation with your manager. And it helps your manager make those key decisions about where their team members are and where their time is going, where their attention is going, and who can get those critical action items when he or she needs someone on it. Balancing my personal goals, my goals to build my blog while working 9 to 5, I did this with a couple of things. One of them is I had a theme of the day throughout my week. So Monday through, or I guess, yeah, Monday through Sunday, I had identified what would be worked on each day. So, for example, Monday might be an editing day. I might look at an article that I'm writing, and I might be writing it on Monday, editing and polishing on Tuesday and Wednesday, uploading it Wednesday, or posting it on Wednesday. Thursday, I might be posting or scheduling my Pinterest pins. Friday, I did my admin day. So Friday would be a day where I would, sit down and pay the bills, go over my business plan, my admin stuff, maybe return calls or make calls or whatever. Saturday and Sunday were my content creation days. So those are the days where I'm creating, I'm doing more writing, I'm building, I'm planning. Today, what I'm doing with this vlog is something similar. I give myself that theme of the week. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I'm editing. By Wednesday, I am scheduling it on YouTube for another day. Thursday, I'm scheduling and building out what my social media will be for that next week. Friday is my admin day, paying my bills, paying attention to all those tasks, those admin tasks that are happening in the background. And Saturday and Sunday, I'm filming. So I'm creating and I'm filming. One of the things that I also want to mention is when you're doing this theme of the day, you don't want to burn out. You don't want to make it so that you're working all day, every day, and it's full of 9 to 5 job and all of your content creation. So let me tell you how you want to break that up. So the way I would do this is I would spend 1 hour in the morning on that theme. So 1 hour editing or 1 hour writing on Monday morning, and that's it. Now it could be in the morning or it could be at the end of your day, depending on how your work looks or how your 9 to 5 job works. For me, I work from home, so I don't have that morning commute. So I can give myself that hour in the morning to work on that. But to be honest, when I was building my blog, I wasn't much I wasn't really keen on the mornings. It didn't work for me. So I was spending an hour in the evening working on my blog and my website and building it out. I don't know why, it just worked for me that way. But now for some reason I've done a complete flip and I found that my creative juices are flowing in the morning. So working an hour in the morning on my content, whether it's editing, like I mentioned, or posting, scheduling, building my social media and getting that online, or doing my admin work, all of that in the morning helps work. It works for me and it helps me get that out of the way so that when I have my 9 to 5 job, which is actually an 8 to 5 job that I do, it's out of the way, it's done, and I can focus on my work, which is also key. You don't want to make it so that you're just everything's overlapping and I have no focus. I don't even know what I'm doing right now. I tried that in the past. I tried spending my lunch hours doing something creative and working on a task that was related to my content creation. And let me tell you, it doesn't work because your focus is just not there. And I didn't like it. I didn't like how that felt. So I was very intentional in building my schedule with my Monday hours or my 1 hour a day, Monday through Friday. And then on the weekends, I do 4 hours a day. So 8 to 12, and that's it. I don't want to burn out my weekend. I want to enjoy my time, enjoy my family. So 8 to 12 works for me to do my content creation. A couple of days on, 8 to 12, a couple of days a week is not a big deal. Or if you want, you can do all day Saturday and then maybe take Sunday off, or do all day Saturday and maybe do a little bit on Sunday, whatever works for you. For me, 8 to 12 on a Saturday and 8 to 12 on a Sunday is perfect. Now, of course, if I have some family plans that are going to get in the middle of that, I might adjust that a little bit. But because I am committing 4 hours, it's really easy for me to just move that into another day or, move it around what my family plans are. So these systems really helped me build my blog and get me to the point where I was monetized in 8 months. Last year in March of 2024, I launched this channel. And let me tell you something, although I am satisfied, I'm slightly satisfied with a little bit of the progress and growth that it's made. I know it could have been a lot better had I implemented this strategy. I didn't do that last year because I got complacent and I thought, I know how to do that. I know how to plan my goals. I know how to manage my time. I didn't write things down. I didn't plan things out. And you know what they say, when you don't plan, you fail. When you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I think that's what the saying is. This year, I am setting, that's why I'm doing this video today. This year, I am committing to putting back into effect my um, my goal setting, my time management, getting back to the basics, and really honing in on how I built my blog, really putting my time and attention to it, and being intentional again with how I spend my time. So I hope this video and these tips that I've shared helps you in some way. I hope you come back and visit me again, because in the next videos, again, you'll probably see this motion in effect, I hope, and we can check in on each other. Let me know what your goals are. Let me know what you're working on, and hold me accountable. Come and visit me again and let me know if you see any difference. Let me know if you see it working or not. We'll talk about it. Until the next video, bye for now.